Welcome into Hand Raise, guys, presented by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. I'm Neal McCready. That's Chase Parham. You probably know us by now. If you don't, welcome.
Just stumbled across us.
Just happened to stumble across us, yeah.
You're on YouTube, and somehow we ended up in your stream, and here we are.
So thanks for making us a part of your Thursday evening. This will be up in podcast form tomorrow as the Oxford Exxon podcast. Don't forget Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Same great products, same great services. Basically the same people, just different names. If you're in the Oxford, Tupelo area, get in touch with the people at Comer, 662-801-1777. If you are in DeSoto County, Memphis, Hernando, Olive Branch, South Haven.
Horn Lake.
Do you have like 7 Class 6A high schools in that area now?
I think you told me that the other day. Yeah.
Because Carson was playing a game against, who was it? It was one of the brand new ones.
Is it Lewisburg?
Lewisburg.
Yeah.
Looks like they just built a brand new high school like in the middle of a field. Like you just throw it up. And the guy was like, yeah, there's like 6 or 7. I was like, wow. Anyway, if you're in Lewisburg, any of those places, get in touch with the people at Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, 662-429-4429. It's great service, and it's cold right now. As I said the other day, it's cold as something, and it was, but it will get warm soon. And before long, you'll want to make sure that air conditioner is ready and in tip-top shape. So get in touch with the people at Comer, get in touch with the people at Southern, and they will make sure that happens. Jeffrey Wright will join us in about, 12 minutes or so. We'll talk some stuff with him, Jackson Dart. And
I kind of forgot that, honestly.
Other things. Yeah. Well, we've had an evening. We could tell stories. We could tell some stories. We really could. Yeah, it's almost hard to bite your tongue.
I'm yelling more than you are today this afternoon at least.
You're angrier than I am, and and that says something. So, I mean, that never happens. We'll talk to Jeffrey on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. We'll talk to you guys on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Great place to go have a burger, a po' boy, appetizers, great beer selection, full bar, all of that at Rafters on the Square in Oxford and in New Albany. We're in the Clark Ford Studios. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for our buddy Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for, and he'll take care of you. Great products, great services. You'll love being part of Clark Ford. I know we do. We've multiple Clark Ford vehicles in our home, and the experience has been awesome. So Clark Ford and Amory, 662-257-1900. Russell Harris, thanks very much for the super chat. That's very kind of you. We really appreciate it. And Chase, before we get completely rolling and off kilter, tell the people about what's going on at the Oxford Exxon.
Lunch specials, $5.69, 2 sides bread, 32-ounce drinks, and more. And still trying to give you the $10. Take advantage of that if you can. Stop into any Blue Sky location across Mississippi, and when you do that, just take a picture of the QR code. It automatically pull up the app. 1,000 points. 1,000 points is $10. Right there at the pump when you're filling up at that moment, again, with all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi. And, take advantage of that.
Apparently there's a soccer game going on. I'm waiting to get some
really?
Some information. So we've had news today.
Yeah. I'll do dart. You can do trig. And then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah, either way.
Okay.
I've communicated with both dads today. So.
Yeah, so we'll get to that too, yeah. So check the thread if you haven't, because like I said, we have quotes from Jackson Dart's father and Michael Trigg Sr. I don't know Jackson Dart's father's name, so I apologize for that. Is it Jason? Is that right?
That doesn't sound right.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
I don't
anyway.
know.
So okay. Let Neal go over to that. We have multiple people telling us, actually a lot by this point. It's like the worst kept secret in America.
I need to tell Carson this game's on.
Reported a few hours ago, Jackson Dart, again, this is 7-11 on Thursday night, so anybody listening on Friday morning, remember this is hand raised, guys. Jackson Dart was admitted into the university, and I'm going to kind of take you through this a little bit. So what that means at the time is that the university has cleared him to then be able to put a schedule together, that there are no issues with Jackson Dart. He's applied. everything's kosher, it's copacetic, and you move on from that point. Well, it's been a night of semantics, but why that is so is that you can be accepted into a lot of schools.
Yes.
You can go to that point. You can fill out. I mean, your normal, pretty smart kid, if they are not sure what's going on, they apply and are accepted into a good many schools. So that's not really a surprise. The next step for enrollment is where I think that, okay, you're not going to go to the trouble of actually getting the schedules in place, and really that's that. I mean, from a straight primer situation. So applied, you've sent the application in, accepted, they've said, yeah, you're good to go. Enrolled, you have a class schedule, and then attending, you have gone to a class and attended class, as you could figure from there. It's 7:12 right now. I mean, obviously we're on air. I haven't tried to follow up with people or not. It's possible that at least some of his classes are in right now. He could be fully enrolled at this point. I don't know at this moment. However, at the same time, it's going to get done. Because what this works for, because this is where it's relevant. Because we talked about the January 24th thing doesn't matter. It actually mattered here because we're after January 24th, which means you need instructor approval to get into all your classes at Ole Miss at this point once you apply or accepted and you're admitted. So the way this works is once he was admitted, it goes around to everybody. I'm sure they went ahead and had a sort of a temp schedule set up to be ready to go to put into place. But at that point, they would start contacting professors. And because I know of one professor that has been contacted and said yes. Has contacted professors and then asked them if they're cool with having them in their class at that point. Once that is done, then he will be fully enrolled. And again, it can be done right now. It can be done in an hour. It all depends on how quickly professors are answering phones or emails on a Thursday night. I won't be stunned. I will pretty much guarantee he will be enrolled by 9 o'clock in the morning, if nothing else. So by the time anybody listens to this thing, I mean, technically, that still doesn't mean he's still got to say he's coming, but at that point, I highly doubt we're enrolling at multiple schools. I'm hearing nothing but Ole Miss here for Jackson Dart.
Correct.
Nothing.
I communicated with his dad. His dad's name is Brandon, by the way.
Sorry, okay. I apologize.
You think in the year 2021, 22, you'd remember the name Brandon.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
It's been a popular name. You don't want me to poke at you anymore. Just let it go.
Okay.
Yeah, I communicated with him today. So Jackson was in Los Angeles until today. He flew, or I assume he flew. I guess he could have driven, taken a carriage. But I'm going to guess that he flew.
Hot air balloon.
God, that'd be tough. That could go really wrong. I think he flew back to Salt Lake City, and he's at home tonight. He said goodbye to his teammates today. I think Chase's theory.
It sounds right.
I don't know this to be right, but at this point I would bet a lot on Chase's theory. My money, I would go all in on the Chase Parham theory of what happened. I think Jackson Dart was in Los Angeles waiting to see what would happen with Caleb Williams. And had Caleb Williams decided to not go to USC, I think Jackson Dart, because he has friends there, his teammates, his buddies, in his dad's words, were there. So he was going to wait and see what happened. And as it became obvious that Caleb Williams is indeed going to USC.
You feel good about that at this point?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do. I feel really, really, really good about it. It became obvious that it was time for him to go elsewhere, and he had explored his options, and he's back in Salt Lake City, and I think it was an emotional day. That's what his dad said. And I get that. You get that, right? Everybody gets that. You
leaving a place that he played.
Those were his teammates. Those were his friends. Those were the guys that he practiced with, that he played with, that he worked out with, that he hung out with. Those were his buddies.
Yeah, Michael Trigg was not the only guy he was close to over the course of that program.
Not at all. So he said goodbye to them. He met with Lincoln Riley today, and left. So he's at home in Salt Lake City, and he's getting ready to I don't have the exact word. Let's see if I can find it here. Let's see. Prepare to move on to the next chapter. It was an emotional day, knowing that part of his life was officially changing. He loves his teammates, and leaving his buddies has been difficult. He's ready to make a decision and excited to begin his next phase of life. He's a team kid, loves being a part of something bigger than himself. It's his dad's words. I'm excited for him and hope for a smooth transition wherever he lands. So
they're not ready to publicly announce.
They're not ready to publicly announce yet, and I get it. You got to have a day to. It was an emotional day.
You don't do what he dealt with today and come out tonight and go, okay.
No, you don't say goodbye emotionally
and hello.
Go home and then say hello at the same time. You catch your breath.
Get up tomorrow, and then
but
because you got to travel here Saturday, Sunday. I mean, you got to
get on an airplane.
Yeah,
at some point, I guess, unless he takes the same hot air balloon, which would, a hot air balloon from Utah to Mississippi.
I mean, he might drive. Needs a car here. Guess you could ship it.
Yeah, if he's driving, you'd have to leave tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a drive.
I think Jeffrey shipped his to Pepperdine. When
he shipped it. Yeah.
Did the dad use a part or a part?
He got it wrong.
Did he? But we really appreciate the text. It's okay. You know what? We're going to forgive. In this instance, we are completely forgiving.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say
I
anything.
didn't see it.
I fixed it.
It's G's fault. I asked I did win.
I fixed it in the thread.
Okay. So does Lane still put the skier tomorrow?
Oh, God.
Or is it in the bag? Like, do we still put the skier?
God.
Is the palm tree still there in the morning? Through Monday?
I guess.
What would you bet? Which way?
I'd bet yes.
You would?
Yeah, because they haven't announced yet.
Okay. Whatever you say.
I kind of feel like we've broken the news here.
I mean, look.
Someone else is going to get the credit because that's how this works, but...
Yeah, if somebody's sitting there going, well, what do you think he's going? Well, I mean, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Someone was like, hey, someone at 247 put in a crystal ball. I was like, well, congrats. I mean...
Well, he was on Trig even. It was like, his dad said they're coming this weekend.
I mean,
what do you want me to do?
What else do you want? I mean, what other source do you need? Sources said. That source didn't tell you shit. You don't have any sources. I mean, screw off, man. I mean, God almighty. You don't have any sources. That's my fault.
You okay over there?
But just...
Did you spill something?
No, I didn't spill anything. I'm just moving a wire.
Oh, I thought you knocked something off.
No, I don't have anything to spill. Just...
You don't have a beer?
No.
You had a beer.
I drank it and I'm done.
You had a beer.
I don't need to be drinking.
Okay. Why'd they block that?
Yeah, I don't know.
YouTube blocked some emojis.
I know. It was
what are we doing?
It was weird.
And it wasn't even the emojis I sent to somebody a little while ago. Those could have been blocked.
YouTube's gotten sensitive. They're blocking all sorts of things lately.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to get Jeffrey on in a minute, and I'm kind of glad we're doing it. I'm not kind of glad. I'm really glad. I'm looking forward to talking to Jeffrey, but all jokes aside, Jeffrey watches a lot of Pac-12 football. Like, I watch Big Ten. Jeffrey watches the Pac-12.
Because it's on at night.
So, I mean, he's seen Jackson Dart play a lot. I really haven't. I've seen bits and pieces, but I didn't watch a lot of USC football last year. Watched a ton of, Minnesota football. But
Illinois,
Purdue. So we'll get Jeffrey on. Send him a message and ask him if he wants FaceTime audio or Skype. We're watching USA. Is this El Salvador? Yeah, USA leads 1-0 in the CONCACAF. The World Cup qualifier. Feels like a big game. And then we've got
FaceTime.
You want FaceTime? Okay. Got Rangers and Blue Jackets hockey on TV too.
By the way, rough night for the Ole Miss women in Columbia. They lose 69-40 to the number 1 ranked Gamecocks. I saw somewhere Carolina shot 30 free throws. That seems like that would be a problem. That's a large number.
That is a lot.
Want me to help you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine. You hear us? Can you hear us?
All right, sorry. I was trying to get my headphones going.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm going to get you turned down a little bit. You're a little loud, which is on our end, not yours.
Oh, God. Cue the jokes in the chat.
I wasn't even going to say it. Yeah.
What are you watching? There's not much on right now.
Aaliyah did watch her Rebels go down.
Yeah.
She got her hopes up, and to which I tried to explain to her
Better.
for all the progressive movement about making us watch women's sports. No sports in my mind are more uneven than women's sports. So maybe we should level that playing field. But I guess we'll get around to that when we get around to it. We've got the Lakers and Sixers on. Team USA is playing, and obviously as a Patriot, I have to watch that.
Yeah, we have that
on the middle screen. There's this guy that's wearing like a Neal. Are you wearing a choker?
No, this wire kind of does choke me.
Yeah, no, it definitely.
I've had
looks
people
like
ask me that if you're wearing necklaces.
Yeah,
Oh,
you got
really?
it looks like and also it's something about that shirt that he's wearing right now, where it looks like he's got like a slight V-neck, and then it looks like he's into the choker with the shark tooth. Little Alvin's Island special.
I'm kind of into the choking thing, you know. That's always been my
of course.
thing. Right.
No, obviously responsibly.
Right. Or kidding. I don't understand.
Just like Aaron Rodgers, right?
I don't understand how that's appealing, but whatever.
Yeah, if we're being honest, that never really.
Yeah, I don't understand how that's like
that
anybody's thing.
And so we asked when I was on the last bachelor party. We asked one of our single guys, like what's hot in the streets, and apparently like that is. So I was like, I'm glad I'm married now.
Yeah, that'd be like a no-go for me. I'd hear that and be like, nope,
I'm with y'all.
I'm out. All right,
Yeah, no, thank you.
You watched a lot of Pac-12.
Let's talk some football, huh?
Let's transition now. You watched a lot of Pac-12 football. We joke about it, but you do. Your impressions of Jackson Dart, the quarterback. What can you tell us?
So my first impression of him was the Washington State game. I want to say it was like the third game of the year. Slovis got concussed, and he started, and he had like the worst possible start you could have. I'm talking like 2 picks, maybe 1 for a touchdown in the first quarter. And then he kind of settled down, and he absolutely lit him up. And you started watching him, and he's got, I know Neal's been in the photo library. He's got is it fair to say swaggy eye black? Is that fair?
Yeah. He's got
swaggy, he's got an attitude. Now, his first 2 games, he looked really good, and it looked like Keaton Slovis might have just gotten, Brady for Bledsoe. And then when London, the receiver, went down in the Arizona game, after that, they just had no weapons. And, it was a lot like a true freshman playing quarterback in that you can clearly see physically gifted. He really struggled after his first read. But I'll tell you what, man, he's got a moxie to him. And, I think Ole Miss is pretty open to the swaggy quarterback. And I think he could be the next one. He's certainly not a finished product. The air raid's a different offense. That's basically what he's played in. I do think, though, that Kiffin will be able to do some good things with him because I actually think it's easier to play in this offense than it is to play in the air raid. So I think maybe that might feature his natural physical gifts. And I think this is actually a pretty good fit.
So
now, it's also important to note, y'all, he's already had some concussion issues.
Yeah, I've had people tell me that one of the goals moving forward is to run the quarterback less, period, just the quarterback less. That's something that they felt like got overdone. Like they, and obviously, I mean, Matt got hurt in that Tennessee game running 33 times. So with Corral,
can I ask y'all this? Because now that the season's over and now that he's gone, I think he clearly played hurt a decent amount.
Yeah.
I also think he was playing possum some too, and maybe Lane was too.
You mean for the
for
drama? Or
I think had they. No, I think at times they were trying. No, I don't think it was for drama. I think it was for schematic advantage.
Oh,
I think that offense really only works at the highest efficiency if you have to account for him. And I think that they knew, hey, if they don't believe that he's going to run, we can start to get some looks. I really don't think it was the pure drama. I think that there was some playing some possum. Like, he looked pretty damn healthy to me that state game. And I'm not saying he clearly was hurt at points in the season. And I'm not saying faked injuries, but I do think at various points in the year, he was healthier than they said he was.
Yeah, I don't know. So I talked to Chris Lowe after and Chris was one of those. Chris is probably one of 3 national journalists that Lane talks to. And Chris, because of his connections with Sexton and stuff, he gets embedded sometimes with Sexton clients. And he got embedded with Kiffin basically for that Tennessee game. And he talked about how beat up he was after that game. Now, I don't know how much he healed and how much they played it moving forward.
I think he was beat up. I think he was beat up in like Tennessee, Auburn. But like I think as they got closer to November, I think he started to heal up a little bit.
Could be. All right, let me get back to this though before I'll forget in my old age the question I was going to ask, which is when Lane Kiffin and at the time Jeff Lebby got a hold of Matt Corral the first time, so much of it was about decision making. It was about being smarter with the football, protecting the ball, not taking chances as much, being a little smarter with just your overall game. So now that, and we're assuming here, but I think it's a safe assumption, now that Lane Kiffin and now Charlie Weiss Jr. instead of Jeff Lebby will get their hands on Jackson Dart, what's going to be assignment 1 in terms of making him a better quarterback?
Okay, I'll answer it as if you were asking me if I were in charge of them, rather than because I can't predict. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Sure.
I'm not close enough to it to know that what their actual conversations are.
But you would have guessed exactly that on Corral. You would have said it's about decision making. It's not about talent. It's not about that. It's just about reading defenses and about being a little smarter.
And footwork. I thought his footwork early in his career was horrific. Yeah. Like I thought he was terrible.
People hate this when you compliment Jeff Lebby, but Jeff did a phenomenal job with Matt's footwork.
No question. He looked like fundamentally, from when he took his first step that Memphis game to the quarterback that he was this year, he fundamentally looked like a different human being. And I can tell you, you can argue whether or not whose offense it is, and I understand like that's a legitimate argument to have. But day in, day out, your position coach is the guy that works on your mechanics and your fundamentals. Like that's to me, like that's not debatable. If it's me, the first thing I'm working on him with is I'm not super confident how well he reads the field. I honestly think it's a lot of the similar traits, you might even be able to go get dust off the old Corral blueprint and say, the things that we need to work on is, okay, you can't just lock on, this is my best guy. And if you look at Dart's numbers, his numbers dramatically drop off after London gets hurt. Why is that? Well, because they just didn't have enough around him. And so a lot of times he was just a freshman out there, trying to make a play, not really knowing what he's looking at. I would say the advantage of playing in Ole Miss's offense is they make it pretty easy on you to determine what you're looking at. It doesn't mean you can't get fooled, but a lot of the way that they line up, the pace at which they line up, a lot of times it's a lot easier to make a determination of what you're looking at.
Yeah, Lane's very good. Lane's very good at making it a one-read
correct.
Play for the quarterback.
I mean, honestly, if to simplify it as much as humanly possible, most of the time it comes down to how many safeties do you see? If the answer is one or fewer, let's throw it and find your best matchup. If the answer is 2 or more, like let's run it and let's figure out the best way to run it. Like that's an overly simplified version of it.
Yeah.
But look at it this way. Lane Kiffin has flaws, but dating back to almost every single offense that he has run, he's never had a quarterback that didn't get production. And that's from, David, it's well documented on the show. Some people get upset by it, but I think very highly of David Cutcliffe as an offensive mind, and more importantly, as a quarterback coach. David Cutcliffe got nowhere near the production out of Jonathan Croft-Hanna that Kiffin did. And I don't think Jackson Dart has enough ability that I don't see why he would be any different than any other quarterback that Lane Kiffin's had. He's certainly, for God's sakes, y'all, Lane got some pretty good production out of Blake Sims.
No, he's been able. That's one of the, for all the things people can say about Kiffin, the one thing you can't say is that he's not been able to get production out of a variety of different kinds of quarterbacks, because he always has. He's. Did you ever see Trigg play?
Wins a title with Jake Coker. He's a possession away from probably winning another title with Blake Sims. But yeah, to me, of all the things that I'm concerned about with Lane Kiffin's program, what Jackson Dart's numbers look like next year, I guess that's the way I'd bottom line it. What Jackson Dart's numbers are, I'm not concerned about. Is he going to be Matt this year? No, but I guarantee he's going to have some pretty good numbers.
Did you ever see Michael Trigg play?
So I watched enough USC to see him play, but he looked like every other USC tight end that I've ever seen in my entire life. Physical specimen, and it's why don't they get him the ball more? But I don't really have a great answer. I can't tell you one way or another why there's no answer to that question. Is it because they had offensive continuity issues? Is it because being his type of player in that offense is probably wasted on a talent like him? But the impression I get, and then y'all can see, strong Yeboah vibes, where feels like the guy that maybe didn't get enough press, but Kiffin knows. Kiffin's never struggled to get a tight end the ball.
Yeah, it's one of the big reasons that
Trigg's even coming.
Yeah, because his dad absolutely loves the Kiffin use of the tight end and all that stuff. It was in addition to the whole coming with a teammate in Jackson Dart. That was the thing that Michael Trigg Sr. told me. What was that, 6 months ago when this saga first started? It was Was it just 2 weeks? Is that all it's been?
It's been about 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks since I talked to him. Before today. Yeah. So. Let me ask you this. I'm curious because you keep up with a lot of college football. The whole portal phenomenon. It's not just Ole Miss that's heavy in the portal. LSU's heavy in it. Missouri's heavy in it. Everybody's all in it right now.
Florida's been pretty heavy in it.
Yeah, Napier's dived into it. Is it dived or dove? Napier dove.
He is diving.
No,
he dove into it.
I think it's dived.
It's dived. Napier dived.
Yes, I know this because you ready to nerd out, y'all?
Yeah.
I said dove on a broadcast, and our SID/stat guy was my 8th grade English teacher. And 8th grade English at MUS is a big grammar year, almost entirely grammar. And so obviously when I screw up, it reflects poorly on him. And so he corrected me.
Oh, how about that?
We'll take word for it.
Yeah, I believe it. I think it is. I know he's right, now that I play it in my mind. Everyone's diving into the portal, some more than others. Kiffin apparently is going for kind of great depth in his dive, talking about 13, 14 portal guys a year, more portal than high school. Your thoughts on that strategy?
You can go back to our Sugar Bowl post show, and I think I'm a little bit less skeptical of it than you are, but that I don't want it to seem that I have skepticism about it. I think, though, where you and I differ is that I think that this is such a completely different period in time that we've ever seen, and the amount of changes that have happened to a sport, I think that it's time to acknowledge everything that we used to consider as law and everything that we used to consider as definitives. I think we at least have to say we need to question whether or not they're as true as they used to be.
Yeah, I think that's more than fair. I do.
I guess I'd bottom line it this way. I think becoming Transfer U is very similar to being it's a similar route to being JUCO U in from 1988 to 1995. In that I think you can find some success doing it, but you have to hit every single time, and it's like as soon as you miss, it can crater.
And you got to make sure, and Chase said this morning, and the more I've thought about it today, he's right. When you go heavy on the portal, you've got to make sure that you hit on the high school guys.
Otherwise, you don't have high school help.
You've got to have a core group of guys that, A, are ingrained in your program initially and kind of have an emotional attachment to it, not just a professional attachment to it. And you have to have guys that you do have their full 4 or 5 year clock.
I think that's fair. However, I'll say this.
I know it's funny as I was saying that in the other part of my head was going, yeah, but that's wrong, and here's where that's wrong. Right, and it's not that Chase is wrong or that it's. I've been saying this all week. It's watching an experiment in real time. You can really pick it apart.
Correct, and I admit there is part of me that's playing a little bit of devil's advocate, but Neal can attest to this. I've thought a lot about this, and to me, it's one of those situations where, okay, for example, Chase, let's say you hit on 4 of those freshmen.
Mm-hmm.
They have great years at Ole Miss. They're 8-4. Buddy, who's to say they ain't going to Alabama? Who's to say they're not going to Florida? Sure. Who's to say that?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And that's where the NIL stuff kicks in, right? If he's got
because the portal kid's already used that transfer. You're stuck with him. He's stuck with you.
Correct. And
if he's a multi-year guy, now 1-year transfers, you better really get a hell of a lot out of them, and you got to be careful there now.
You got to capitalize.
You need multi-year transfers.
Yeah.
So where I think this gets complicated right now, and see if y'all agree, the reality that we're living in which we have no idea what eligibility some of these kids are. I think honestly, you can ask some of these kids, and they don't if you sit there and go, "What are you?" They go, "I think I'm a sophomore, but I might have an extra year." You know what I mean? We're in this weird reality of no one really knows whether or not they have 4 years left, whether or not they have 3 years left. And so I think there is some value on going after a kid that maybe went to another school. You've got film on him. You like what you see about him. It hasn't worked out there. And this kid knows, hey, man, this is a really good shot. Honestly, guys, without the transfer portal, does Ole Miss go 10-2? My answer is no.
No. Without Chance Campbell, without Jake Springer, no.
And
at that point, Mark Robinson wouldn't even be there.
Well,
that's a good point.
And I do agree with Neal's concept that you need the younger guys to build the identity of the program. With that being said, we just watched a team that certainly the identity of the defense was a transfer middle linebacker, a safety, and then a defensive end that, I think the best thing you could say about him is he's really talented.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean?
You also, but I think, and this may be where this Kiffin is dead on, right? I'm not sitting here prepared to go, this is brilliant or this is stupid. I don't know. I don't think it's stupid. I'm not prepared to go, this is the absolute cutting edge. I think that's possible. But if you look at that team, they had guys that stepped in and filled those roles. But the meat of that team, Corral, Broker, Ben Brown, Jerry and Ely, Snoop Connor, Henry Parrish to a degree, Dontario Drummond had been there a little while. Braylon Sanders has been at Ole Miss for, 5 years? I mean, you had.
I thought it was 7. I thought this was his 8th year.
You had Katie Hill, had a great season, had a very important season for them. Some of those DBs have been there for a while, still there. I mean, AJ Finley and DeAndre Prince came back for a second time. I mean, there were guys who had the emotional investment.
Program guys,
like we were talking about today. I mean, for Jackson Dart, the hard part about this was the part that everybody kept talking about quarterback play and all that stuff. And, don't forget, I mean, this is a guy that, he has his buddies that are there, guys that he's hung out with, that I'm going to go out on a limb and guess they've had some parties and they've also been to 6 a.m. workouts.
I don't know if you're familiar with Jackson's religion.
Yeah, I'm still going to just bet. But they've had 6 a.m.
I'll tell you this: having gone to school with some Mormons, I thought you'd be right. I'm telling you, man.
You don't think?
If he is, let me say this:
he's legit Mormon.
If he's legit Mormon, I'm telling you, man. No, I'm telling you, I've watched it with these own 2 eyes.
The PC rating on tonight's show is just terrible.
Well, the good news is, hey guys, I don't know if y'all been paying attention. The tides are turning. It's all coming back, baby. Yeah, everyone that was clutching their pearls, everyone's lightened up. We're now 14 months removed from Trump, and everyone's realizing oh yeah, if you entirely base your political beliefs whether or not you agree with one human being, that's probably not a great system. So we're at least heading back to normalcy.
We're doing our pendulum swing. All right. Hey, real quick, not necessarily real quick, but I'm curious. We had people that.
Oh, no. Okay, I want to go back to your point though.
Okay.
Here's my question. So we get to say all these nice things, and you and I, we've all covered enough teams to know, hey, you get to write and say nice things about teams that win a lot. How much of that truly was the defense, and how much of it was Matt Corral was, if not the best quarterback in the country, number 2 at worst. You know what I mean? They went 10-2 against an SEC in which LSU is down. A&M lost its quarterback. You had to go to the last play to beat Arkansas. You got to play Tennessee in year 1 of a coaching change. You got to play Vanderbilt in year 1 of a coaching change. And, how much of 10-2 is Matt Corral and circumstances versus how much of 10-2 was the team that we saw?
We start to find out. I mean, this is the year we start to find out because he doesn't have a in his words, a generational quarterback.
The defense was good enough to allow Corral to lead them to 10-2.
Okay, I guess this would be the most
because they did improve by 14 points or something.
They did.
Yeah, they
also,
went from
Matt
120 to 50.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They weren't turning it over and giving teams points. There is also an element of that. And also, they did not go nearly as fast this year as they did last year. And there's no question the defense, you watch that defense, and there's no question it was better. But there is in the back of your mind, is this defense 14 points better? Because, y'all, that is the type of leap that is an outlier. It's not, and that's the thing. Maybe the transfer portal makes those types of leaps possible if you hit on all of this. But to me, Chase, there were a lot of people in 2003 that talked themselves into, I know we lose Eli, but I don't know if you heard this. The Dallas Cowboys were at practice this week, and they said the most talented player on the field was Michael Spurlock. In fact, they started calling him Spurvic. Ooh. And I'm telling you,
is this real?
Mike Espy's back. Tay Biddle's back. You get another year of Bill Flowers. And that defense, I know they struggled at first, but they came on strong at the end of the year.
Were people really saying
this? Does it sound familiar, Rutley?
You talk yourself into a lot of things, though.
But do you understand? I'm not even this is these are the things that I think about. How much of this, and it's entirely possible that this is a staff that is really good at figuring out who can play, and that's the flip side of this argument. But
that's always been what Kiffin's been good at, right?
And so I'm willing to acknowledge that both possibilities are true. If you're asking me to bet on which one is closer to right, I am betting on what my eyes told me, and that number 2 is really good and he covered up a lot of mistakes. Kind of like number 10 was really good and covered up a lot of mistakes.
And it's not even really devil's advocate on the defense. It's that it's so much extra personnel. Because like I said, you get DeAndre Prince back, you move some people to different positions, you get Campbell, you get Springer, and frankly, Sam Williams was a different dude. Like, that's basically like you got a transfer in Sam Williams.
Yeah,
he went from like 3 sacks to setting the school record, whatever it being 13 or whatever, at a premium position where you're getting that many tackles for loss. That's worth a lot right there.
So arguably
the biggest impact position on defense?
Yeah, sure, of course.
So what's the biggest question mark for both of you guys for this team right now? Let's assume, for the sake of this argument, that they've got Dart, they've got Trigg, so they've addressed tight end, they've addressed quarterback. Is it defensive line? Is it linebackers? Is it wide receiver?
It's defensive line, and I don't know that it's close. It's end and tackle. You want to see where you can get things.
Whoa. Did we not watch the same Sugar Bowl?
What? Go ahead.
No, I'm confused. Like, we all watch football the same way. Y'all have no concerns about this offensive line?
I think the defensive line's a much bigger problem right now.
Yeah, the offensive line, I do think they addressed a big thing in getting Brooks, and I actually think they're going to add another kind of tackled that's going to.
Okay, I understand what you're saying,
but I'm telling you, Jeffrey, I have more concern with
the one thing that's a unit. Like, an offensive line has to be more than just talent. Wide receiver can be talent. Defensive line, honestly, can be talent. Like,
well, that's true.
An offensive line has to really, really know how to work together.
That is true. That's fair. I still have some wide receiver concerns. I know Knox was one of the.
We're really counting on Jalen Knox to be a dude.
You're counting on everything that people are saying to be accurate. That he was at times the best receiver on campus.
And I need to know if Tywan Malone's good next year. That's my answer. Is Malone good? In year 2, is he what he was supposed to be out of high school? And I think that dictates my answer.
I'm trying to think back into my head. Can y'all come up with a receiver? I guess the one I would make the argument that he truly got screwed. Like, typically receivers, like, you kind of know if they're good or not. I think the exception is Cody Core, in that I think Cody Core was misutilized. But in general, how many receivers go from being, an afterthought to, man, nobody could cover him, that weren't buried behind an elite guy? I'm talking about could have played. They wanted to play him, because I think we can all admit, based on the injuries last year, there was a lot of opportunities to get some reps at the receiver position.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, all 3 of the dudes were out at one point.
Did he ever step up and you sit there and you go, that's it?
No.
Is today signing day?
No.
Oh. Coming up with the reasons.
Okay.
Site would crash.
Oh, did it?
It's apparently struggling.
Oh, I meant to tell you this. I looked on it 5:30. Yeah, Gateway, the 502 Gateway thing.
Yeah, that's become the bane of my existence.
You have to hit refresh when that pops up.
Yeah. I did.
Oh.
I'm well versed in the troubleshooting.
Yeah. Site works, but the boards are down, according to Cole. Well, that's kind of like the car works, but the engine doesn't.
Yeah. The brakes are fine, but it just doesn't go.
It just won't start.
Listen, guys, you got this shell there. That is a beautiful body car.
It really is. All right, I told people I would ask you this because they wanted to know what's been the week. Last time we were here doing the show,
as we signed off, Penny got to talking. So
Penny was dropping F-bombs. What's it been like?
You mean he was – first off, Coach was just standing up for what was right.
Okay.
I don't know if you know this. The media asks a lot of stupid fucking questions. So I just hope y'all know that.
Yeah.
And they write a lot of bullshit articles. Coach was just standing up.
Has anyone written a negative word about Penny Hardaway in the Memphis media market to this point? Prior to last Thursday?
Oh, yeah. There's a reason why. There's a reason why someone got asked. You know what happens when you don't think about this. Your entire existence as a head coach for 3 years has been nothing but sunshine pumping and sunshine pumping.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, first off, you're not well-versed in this universe. You're not from this world. You know, you've been a professional athlete, but you're not from the coaching world where, even though you're down 3 guys at Tulane, you're supposed to beat Tulane. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not from this world where everyone just sits there and goes, hey, man, we kind of get it. Like, move on. And then all of a sudden, after 3 years, you start to get some negative words. And all of a sudden, you start to come a little unhinged. Does this sound like anyone that y'all know? When the pressure to actually win,
cold in here.
All of a sudden somebody started lashing out a lot, and somebody started explaining his point of view.
Yeah, there is some freeze. Houston Nutt when the pressure got ratcheted up, got that way too. Yeah, it's a kind of a common thing.
And I think the one commonality in all three, Houston. I think Houston is either, if not on record, there are enough people that can confirm it's true. Houston basically said, like, is 9-4 not good enough here? You know what I mean? Like that, and kind of thought the back-to-back Cotton Bowls, haven't done it in 50 years, that was enough. Freeze, for all I've done for this university, all the good I've done. And then all of a sudden, a little trials and tribulations. Same thing with Penny. You sold 1,700 season tickets the year before I got here. You've sold 10,500 the last 2. I've gotten you number 1 recruiting classes. I've made this program relevant. I have nothing to show for it. But with that being said, I have taken this program from being something that people actually, no one talks about, to something that people talk about. And so I expect what you'll see next year, just a hint, the University of Memphis is about to look a lot like the Ole Miss football program. I think there's going to be a lot of older gentlemen on that team.
Oh. We had some people want to know your thoughts on the New York football Giants.
Okay, it's a weird spot to be in. I think we've all talked about this. I'm done of being like home run or single, double. I care more about what was the thought process. The thought process was, in the NFL, unlike in college football, if you see somebody that's great and you've got you have the ability to go get that, you can just hire that person away. Well, the NFL has the unspoken rule of you don't take another man's man. And with Buffalo, does anyone argue that what they've done has been very smart the last 4.5, 5 years?
No, they've emerged as one of the model franchises in the NFL.
And they've done it they've done it the hard way. They took a beating on the quarterback that they took.
Mm-hmm.
They have drafted their asses off. They traded away the position to draft Patrick Mahomes. Like, consider that. And they had to eat it. And in the end, like, they consistently are one of the best run teams. And so does that necessarily mean that the number 2 guy can do the job? No. But at least I like the thought process of, hey, who's somebody who's been around someone that built a program, built a team, and has figured out a way to make a sustainable model to where it's not just a flash in the pan. It's Buffalo. And also, I'm kind of all in on let's just run it back with number 2s. Get me Brian Dable. I want a fat coach that just cares about nothing but football. McAdoo, I told y'all this. When McAdoo showed up at the opening press conference and he was wearing that suit that didn't fit, he looked like he had bought it at Joseph A. Bank like his sophomore year of college. I go, that's my football coach. They went 11-5 that year. The next year, he slimmed down and he started slicking back his hair. And I looked at that and I said, that's not Ben McAdoo. That's a man that's lost his way. Give me a fat guy that's bald with a beard that all he does is care about football, and Brian Dable's that guy. I'm all in. Also, I love Brian Flores, so if they want to hire him too and he wants the job, by all means. That guy made Miami. The only thing that's more impressive than his last 2 years is when he went 4-12 with a team that was trying to tank.
All right, last thing, real quick for the two people in the thread that care about the NBA. Are the Grizzlies a contender?
I think you have to say yes, and it's not from the sense that they're a traditional contender. Neal, wouldn't you agree when you look at the NBA landscape, there's no Death Star this year, right?
Absolutely not. Certainly,
especially with now all three Nets guys being hobbled.
Yeah,
and I mean,
yeah. No, there's
like,
no.
There is this weird reality. Have I told you my theory of what I want to do if the Grizzlies get to the finals and they're playing the Nets?
No.
I want to come up with the first ever universally approved mask and vaccine mandate. I think I'm petitioning Jim Strickland as the mayor to do what's right for the people and what's right for the safety of our children.
So that Kyrie can't
and more
play.
Importantly, everyone in the community. I think there needs to be a mask and vaccine mandate. And if you're not here and you do not abide by our rules, you cannot enter our city limits.
So just for 2 weeks, right?
Well, oh, yeah, no, I wanted to start, it was finals of June 17th?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to start June 17 at midnight. June 17 at 5 p.m. And then it expires whatever Game 7 is.
Hey, man, I appreciate the time as always. Really do. Thanks.
All right, boys.
All right, bye. It's Jeffrey Wright. Thanks to him for his time.
Did you hit all the trig stuff before we went to him? Or did we forget that?
Chase, I don't remember.
I wrote it down when we were talking because I couldn't remember if we did that
About the situation?
Yeah.
You're right now. See, right. This is what you do. You're like, he's in a fairly affable mood, and I'm just gonna poke at him, and I'm
we
gonna get
said
him to
going
snap.
in I said I would take Dart, and you could have trig, and we would run through the situations. I didn't know if we did trig. I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Did we say anything? I mean, I really don't recall.
Did we? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if we even went to the subject. I'm really not needling you as bad as it seems like I am.
Because this
could really, yeah. See, they said literally no trick stuff.
Okay, yeah, I could get pissed off fast. So I talked to his dad today.
Yeah.
Texted and then actually talked. Oh yeah. Let's see. So I talked to his dad. There was an issue at USC involving a course. It's my understanding it was a pass-fail course, and there were some issues with it, and with it on his transcript, it was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be removed from his transcript so it would be less of a problem. And I don't know whether it was yesterday or early today or whatever, but that had been resolved where he could. Because one of the parts of the portal that people don't talk about, and I guess we should have learned this on Deion Smith and talked about it, is that to transfer and be eligible to play immediately, to use your one-time no-penalty transfer, one of the requirements is that you are academically eligible at the school in which you are transferring from.
Yeah, otherwise you can only transfer under the old rules. You can't be a portal transfer, which allows immediate eligibility.
Yeah. And so with that course on his transcript, he didn't meet that requirement. And so the course they were able to appeal, and I don't know to who or how, and I didn't dig into it, but the obstacle was removed to where he is now eligible to play immediately. And so there was a lot of criticism kind of out there in the ether about Ole Miss and the UM admissions, and And listen, I can't speak to this with total authority, and maybe you can. I've said this all along that I kind of have a deal with Ole Miss after what happened in 2016 and some of the conversations that happened in the subsequent year, that I don't touch university stuff. I just leave it alone. I don't go there. I cover the school, and this is bordering in that, and I've lived up to my words. I don't want to go too far. I think Ole Miss got beat up by some people unnecessarily and maybe completely unjustifiably. I can't speak to that with total authority, but that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, knowing what I know just about the processes of this, I don't know how they much could have done things quicker than they did. I mean, it went very fast, given the situation that they were under. Look, guys, I mean, it's one of those deals where when you get transcripts and things, whatever they say is kind of what they say. Now, you can speed things along, but you can't just make stuff up, and you got to figure things out. I mean,
right.
Let's be completely real, and I'm not saying, whatever. I'm sure there's some case-by-case stuff here, but this thing got done 3-4 days a week. The typical student struggle to get it done that quickly. I mean, let's be honest.
It would take multiple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, Ole Miss did complete and utter, as far as I'm aware of, due diligence here to get this done quickly. I think, as you said, I think it's pretty unjustifiable for Ole Miss to be to be who was beat up in this.
And I don't think they were the only entity that had work to do to get it done, that had to do things. I don't think it was a completely autonomous process. I mean, I think there were multiple parties that were involved. At least two.
Because there would have been questions from SC, yeah. I mean,
there were at least two and maybe a third that had to be involved to approve it.
You can't make those people quicken up for you. I mean,
they're not hanging on every word of it because they're dealing with other things too. I mean, there was more than I'm going to guess there was more than one student at USC, and if the NCAA were involved, there's more than one appeal or whatnot that is sitting on the desk there.
Yeah. So when we're trying to protect Michael Church's privacy here, but beyond that, this thing moved, in my opinion, incredibly quickly relative to what it was, and they got it done in time, which was the thing. I mean, according to Michael Church Sr., they can be good to go by Monday for that issue at least. So no, I mean, I think it was. I think it was one of those things that just took a minute. I know I get the lack of patience, but some things require some patience. It just you have to go through those processes because it has to be done correctly. It can't just be.
Yeah, you can't.
It can't just be thrown.
Yeah, you got to do it right. There's a process. You're to meet the requirements to be able to play immediately and not look up in the summer and go, "Hey, we have a problem." You have to handle it now. Because I don't know how that would work, like in a hypothetical. In this case, it's been solved. It's resolved. But in a hypothetical where you transfer someplace, assuming that you have the one-time no-penalty transfer, and you find out that you're not eligible, do you get your card back? How does that work?
Yeah.
Or do you just have to sit? Like Jalen Knox knew when he transferred to Ole Miss.
He knew he was ineligible.
He knew he was ineligible, and that's why he didn't qualify for the one-time no penalty.
That's a good point. Yeah.
He qualified for the old rules, which is okay. You can transfer and you can be on scholarship, but you
got to get help. You got to get eligible there.
You have to sit out a year and get eligible there before you can play. That's why he'll be able to play this year, but he couldn't play in 2021 because he wouldn't have been eligible to play at Missouri either. Mm-hmm. When you get in the portal, you have to be eligible.
Yeah, there's confusion there. Everybody thinks there's just one route. No, you can still go the old route. But if you're doing this route, you have to be academically eligible in whatever way to do that. I don't know all the specifics, but you do. And that's what surprised us because obviously Zach Evans was. After all that talk, I mean, he's on campus, he's taking classes, so
yeah,
he must be good to go. Or on pace, I guess I would say. Well, speaking of Memphis.
What is on that floor?
That's their floor, bud. Terrible, isn't it?
They look like they went to Boise.
It's awful, isn't it?
That is the worst floor I've ever seen.
You think so? Think it's the worst one?
I hate it.
I hate Oregon's thing, too.
Like, I look at it and I think something's wrong with the television. Every single time that I look back at it, even now knowing it's going to be blue like that, I think, what's wrong with my TV?
It's kind of the floor version of us making fun of Kentucky's uniforms, isn't it? You have blue and white. Just put a floor down.
Yeah, you're trying way that is trying way too hard. That hurts the eye.
That would be enough if I was in the Big 12 to go, nope, no way. Because of your floor. Even if I was fine with everything else, we're not putting that floor in our
No, that
conference.
would be the end. Yeah. I'd walk in and go, no, that's
I'm
it.
good.
That's it. You're not prepared. You're too JUCO for us. East Carolina and Memphis. Is it bad that I really would love to see East Carolina win this game by 12?
Everybody. Wouldn't everybody who's... Yeah, Oregon's floor is awful.
It is bad, but it's not this bad.
You think it's better than this?
Yes, I'll fight on this hill.
Well, yeah, the Big 12 is not void of reasons to say no to Memphis. Yeah, you're very correct. I'm just saying.
I don't know anything about a kicker. I've not heard anything about a portal kicker, and I know that we're still waiting on
Caden Costa.
The Caden Costa rule.
And there does not appear to be any urgency there.
Which is, again, to your point about Trigg, it got done pretty quickly. For all the people screaming and yelling about how it was taking so long.
It was not taking long.
It really didn't take that long. Because someone could have said, hey, we're not able to do this by Monday. But we might be able to get it done by August.
Yeah.
Instead, they got it done.
He can be there at 9 o'clock on Monday morning for whatever it is he's taking.
It's going to be okay. I mean, yeah. All right.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah. It's one of those things that if nobody else knows, then it doesn't become something. And so I've got to make sure I just bite my tongue really hard.
Yep.
Till there's like blood coming out of it. Kind of where we are. All right, so we got to get this off there. There's the hotline number, 662-259-0991. Call that number. It's the Rafters Music and Food Hotline, and you can call in and join us here on The Big Show. Hey, who do we have?
Hey guys, this is Mark from DC.
Hey Mark, what's up? We're good. How are you?
Hey, so I kind of want to talk a little bit about basketball, and I guess it's kind of more directed at Neal since Chase doesn't really cover basketball as much as you do. But and please correct me if I'm way off on this, but is it me or do you think the same thing that I do? I kind of think that we have a lot of high-profile recruits, so like really high 4-star guys, but it seems like the staff / current data doesn't really develop them that well.
I don't know that I agree with that. I think they've done a pretty good job developing Morrell. I think they've done a good job so far with Deshaun Ruffin, who missed a lot of time. I think Brakefield is a much more raw product than people understand. I think
his ranking has disrupted what actually he has shown to this point.
Jamin's game needs a lot of work. It needs more than 1 year of work. It needs a lot of work. His handle is sloppy. His defense, he's got to get stronger. He's got to become a more skilled offensive player. Jamin's a high 4-star player, and the whole Duke thing and all the hype. But there's a lot of flaws there to his game.
So is it more an indictment on, I guess, the people that rated these guys?
No. The reason they're losing, look, you can Crowley. You get into my area here, right? This is my criticism of this staff can be summed up in 2 players, and I hate doing this. It's not fair to do this to college kids, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I get it.
It's Austin Crowley and Sammy Hunter. That's my criticism of them. I mean, you look at those are 2 guys that they recruited to be big pieces, and they're not. And I mean, Hunter has been there for 3-4 years now, and Sammy's just not an SEC player at this point in his career.
Right.
And Austin does some things. He does some things well, and I really thought by now Austin was going to be a really impactful player, and it just hasn't happened.
They both look the part.
They look the part. Austin absolutely looks the part, and Sammy does too. It hadn't happened, and then you have you throw in a couple of injuries, and then you throw in 3 guys. You know, a lot of times that you can carry one guy on the end of your bench that is a scholarship guy, that's a development guy that's just not ready yet. They've got 3 on scholarship on the end of their bench who aren't ready yet. And so start doing the math. When you start at 13 and you've got 2 injuries, you're down to 11, and you take 3 guys on the end of the bench who can't play, that's down to 8, and then you got 2 guys out of your other 8
you have nothing.
You're down to last night, which is it's you're counting on Morrell and Ruffin to carry you. And when you're going up against, look, Arkansas's not very good. I wouldn't call Arkansas a bad team. They're fine, but they're super thin. Like I said, they played 4 starters last night. I mean, their starting lineup played 39-40, 35-48, 18-38, 37-31, and 36-43. So they're playing the same 6 dudes the whole game. So it wasn't a depth thing, but you know, they've got a couple of really impactful players in Note and Williams, and they've been around a little bit longer, and that's why they won the game. They made some shots, they made some plays, and Ole Miss didn't, and everything else in the box score is the same. But when your path to victory is that everybody has to play great that night, well, you're not going to win many games because that's not a realistic approach. I mean,
right. I mean, we saw it against Florida. I mean, Morrell shot lights out, and so did Ruffin. But let me ask this question. So, and I like both coaches. I like Kennedy a lot, and I like Coach Davis a lot too. So, do you think that Kennedy would have a better record than what Davis has right now with this team?
I don't know. Look, here's full disclosure here. Andy Kennedy's a good friend, not just a friend, but a good friend. So that said, Andy's time at Ole Miss was up. He knew it.
I think he did a heck of a job.
He did, but Andy needed a reset, and he got one. He got 2 years in TV, and everyone talks. So there's a really good story about ESPN today about AK, and he, not only did he get the TV, and everybody goes, "Oh, he was so good at TV," and he was. He was really good at TV, but the part of that 2 years that Andy really enjoyed, and I know this because we talked about it a lot, he would go to practice in the morning at Kentucky, at Tennessee, at wherever. And, you know, he went to an Arkansas practice one day and watched Musselman, who's a completely different coach than Andy. But he got a couple of things out of it. He and Calipari are pretty good friends, and I think Cal opened up the program to him a little bit. And I think he learned a lot of things in 2 years. And then I think Andy, and this is where Andy's really smart, Andy did a self-assessment, and he said, hey, I can't continue to MF kids the way that I did. I've got to chill. I've got to figure out a way to back off. And Andy, if you've ever met him, is a hyper-competitive human being.
I met him once or twice when I lived in Oxford. And, I mean, he's doing a heck of a job at UAB.
He is, but the 2 years away from it has helped him coach kids differently. And, you know, like, listen, I think he's going to have some opportunities. I think he's going to have some decisions to make. But do I think he would be better at Ole Miss right now? And that would be a remarkably unfair thing to say about Kermit.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, so I don't listen, I think Kermit's a good coach, but Kermit's dealing I do believe this. I think Kermit's got to change the way he behaves on the sidelines. I don't think the antics work, and Kermit's a hell of a
and frankly, game flow.
Kermit's a hell of a basketball coach. I mean, he knows the game. He would kick your ass in X's and O's. He gets it. I mean, he is a smart basketball coach. But I do think he's got to change his stripes a little. And, you know, let's face it, he's at that age where changing is hard. And he's and Kermit also is hyper competitive. I mean, he wants to win bad. And it's his program, and I think sometimes he goes in with the best of intentions, and as the game goes on and the adrenaline gets pumping, he coaches with that bench and stuff, and I think sometimes you can make guys a little gun-shy.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, I like both coaches. I really do. I mean, I think the world of both of them. It's just that it's hard for me to see that Kermit, based on what we've seen so far. I mean, crowd attendance, what we've seen on the court. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if something happened at the end of this year.
I think Keith's going to have a difficult decision. Everybody at this point, I think Chase will agree with this. Everybody's pretty unanimous that this is not going to be the year that this happens. And listen, financially, you're out trying to raise $140 million?
Yeah.
Is that the number?
More than that. The
So-
Cowboys
Oh, like
campaign?
over
Yeah, what
three.
is that?
It's like 3 something.
Oh,
isn't it?
hell, I
yeah,
don't
it's
know.
I
3
thought it was
something.
over 3.
It's
Okay.
like 350
Okay, so you're trying to raise $350 million
and do NIL.
and you're asking people, hey, listen,
Need you to pay the players too.
we kind of want to play the players and we got to do this kind of legally. So how do we do? Yeah, and then hey, let's pay the basketball coach $7 million or whatever it is to
And that would take I think it's more than that.
go away or whatever, 9, whatever the number is, and then you got to pay a new guy, and who's that guy? And I don't know. Listen, whatever Keith's making, he's earning it because this is and look, Keith likes these people. You know, I mean, like we didn't talk about this, but I'm sure Monday night was a
tough deal.
a tough night for Keith. I mean, Mike White's one of his best friends, and I mean, he looks out on the floor, and Keith's smart enough to know Mike's in trouble. And you know, I mean, there's no guarantee when you bring in the next guy because the moment that Andy walked out the door, it wasn't Andy's fault anymore. And the moment that wherever that is, whether it's in March or in 3 years, whenever Kermit walks away, it's not Kermit's fault anymore. You got to find the new guy's got to come in and fix it. And everybody does this thing about the portal. Well, you just jump in the portal and fix it. Well, the first thing you got to do is keep your guys out of the portal. I mean, I promise you, I said this on the morning show, I promise you, there are teams out there that have their eyes on Matthew Morrell. Promise it.
Oh, I completely agree.
I mean, promise.
Before I hang up, so back to Chase's comment, I don't know if he said this a couple days ago or the last podcast, but he was right. So back in 01, 02, 03, when Rod Bonds was here, I mean, basketball games were so electric. I mean, it was like can't miss if you were in person. They were. I was at the game when we won I think it was 2001 when I was probably like 15 years old. We beat Alabama and they were ranked like 10th in the country and beat them by like 34 to win the West. I mean that place was electric. If any way we could get back to that, I mean, and basketball games were so fun. It were good. But anyway, I'll go ahead, Jay.
Well, no, I mean, go ahead. We'll talk about it. Appreciate the call.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll hang up and listen to you guys. I appreciate the show. I mean, I listen every day. It's probably the highlight of my day, considering. I mean, I work from home, put y'all guys on podcast, and do my work. So I mean, I appreciate everything y'all do. But I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
I mean, look, Ole Miss can for sure be better at basketball than they are right now. There's no doubt about that. The league is really freaking hard, though.
Yeah.
It's much better than it was in the 90s. So it's going to take Ole Miss to be even that much better, that much more efficient, deeper rosters. And
if you were to make a move this year, it's probably going to be you, Missouri, Georgia, maybe Florida. Where does your job rank in those 4? I mean, like, look at Auburn today. Auburn, like, is in a state of panic. They're number 1 in the country, and they're panicked because Louisville wants Bruce Pearl. So if the Auburn job opened up, I mean, the line of coaches that would want to jump into that puppy right now
would be pretty big.
It's not an easy deal. I mean, it's I'm glad I don't have to make that decision. All right, I got to figure out an easier way to get from one graphic to the other. There's got to be a
AK would have a lot of reach in a fight.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to fight Andy. My God. Why would I do that? He's a great athlete. He's got bad knees now.
You have to go with the knees.
Yeah, I mean, the only shot I'd have would be to kick him in the knee and knock him down and then run.
Yeah, why are we doing the American History X scene? No, but don't do that. It's not good in the stream. It's a good Thursday night.
And both of us would just say, why are we doing this? Let's open some wine. It'll be all right. I mean, there's no reason. I don't think I could take him. I don't.
No.
I mean, my money would be on him. He's a really athletic guy. And he's in shape. I mean, I'll work out and stuff, but he's in better shape than I'm in. I think he's a little more. I don't know what I think he does the morning. I think he's pretty disciplined with the morning workout.
Is he really?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know what the day's going to bring. Get it out of the way.
It is the way to do it.
Get moving.
It's the way to do it if you can be disciplined enough to do it. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, it's Steve in Greenville.
Hey, Steve, what's up?
Hey, just a quick question. You keep talking about the ACC, losing, how they're not making the money the SEC is and expansion. I heard on the radio the other day that if a team leaves the ACC or if Notre Dame decides to join somebody other than the ACC, they have a $300 million buyout. They leave before 2036.
Wow, I've never heard that number. I will just tell you what I consistently hear from people about conference realignment and such, and that is that contracts are made to be negotiated.
I was just wondering, $300 million. I mean, the SEC would have to be really bringing in some big money to get somebody.
Yeah, but look, I go back to my thing that I've said all along, which is if you're one of those member institutions and you want to raise enough of a stink about it, you can make it ugly enough where they want you to go away so that you'll shut up.
True. All right. Oh, one more thing. I was listening to a professor from Tennessee the other day on a podcast, and he was talking about when Georgia Tech left. I know Ole Miss plays them this year. And he said that Mississippi State almost went out the door with them, but Ole Miss and I think it was LSU talked them out of it.
Ooh.
Say that again?
Yeah. That when Georgia Tech left,
the SEC.
They were mad about how Alabama was recruiting and then cutting players before the season started.
Okay.
And Ole Miss was apparently doing the same thing under Vaught. And Georgia Tech was upset about it, and they left. And said State was upset also. And said everybody knew that Tulane was fixing to leave. And that would have put us at, I think 8 teams at the time.
Sure.
And said that Ole Miss and LSU went to State and talked them into staying. Said they would change how they did things.
Oh, that was a mistake.
Should have let them go out the
Let
door.
them walk. They'd be Southern Miss right now.
Yeah.
Well, Alabama promised Georgia Tech they would change, and then Bear Bryant thought better of it.
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah, don't worry, guys. We got this.
All right, guys.
All
Enjoy
right.
the show. Take it easy.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. Grind, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate that. Very nice of you. Oh, would you believe Bryant? Come on.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll stop.
We're going to be class, and we're going to change. I'll tell you, we'll take yours and beat his and take his and beat yours, and we're going to do it with first class. We're going to give 100%.
And Golden Flake.
We're going to give 100%. And listen, if you're a 75 player, but you give everything you've got and you pay the price, you can be an 85 player. And if that 85 player on the other side, say he doesn't pay the price, he doesn't do the extra things that we're going to demand of you, he's going to be a 75 player. That'll let you beat him. And if we do that 11 at a time, every play, we'll win the national championship.
Yeah, duck does not taste like chicken. It's gamey. It's got a high fat content. Yeah.
You like duck?
Yeah.
It's
I'm all right with duck.
It's fine. The 225 number, if you call back, I'll get you. I just missed you. I was doing a Bear Bryant imitation that probably got me fired in Alabama. I feel like I just got fired again.
You couldn't make fun of Bear, could you? No.
You had to be very careful. I could do the he's got glass and we got glass and everybody got glass.
But that's it.
That's about as far as you could go.
Nothing derogatory.
You certainly couldn't imply that maybe they twisted the rules.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know.
You couldn't even do that? He signed like 70 a year.
Yeah, but that's because everybody wanted to play for the Bear. mean, that's what it was. Just nothing. Certainly wasn't because of cars or anything. Yeah, it was 39 years ago today, I think.
Really?
I think it was this week. Hey, who do we have?
Yeah, it was great.
Ooh, Grind. Did you get your old phone back?
Don't say that to me, man. Do I sound better now?
Yeah, you're better now.
Okay, man. Don't say that to me, golly.
Sounds like you went scuba diving and you found the old phone and you're like, hey, listen to this.
That old Nokia
Yo, look
bricks
what I
back in
found.
here.
What's
going on?
happening?
Oh, man. Dude, between calming my family down about, is Bruce Pearl leaving? Bruce Pearl going to leave and Harsin going to stay? Everybody is just going crazy, man. Everybody is just, and see, you know what's crazy, bro? Because last week after Auburn beat Kentucky, I was talking to my pops. And, you know, he was all like, man, I just can't believe, like, you know, he got Auburn like this. And I was like, and I had said this before, even before, you know, anything about Louisville came out, because, you know, I'm not really in tune with college basketball news like that. And I was like, man, the only two places I'd be worried about him leaving Auburn for is Syracuse when Jim Boeheim retired, because I could see him fitting in there. And I said Louisville.
Yeah.
And I said, like, he fit, like, when if you was to put Bruce Pearl in Louisville, it just looked right.
He does really fit Louisville. I will say that.
Yeah,
Being
he does.
Fairly familiar with it. Yeah, that's.
And he
I
would
was like,
fit
it just
Syracuse
looked
too.
right.
That's a good one.
And me and and then, like, just talking through it, I want to see if you guys agree. Like, there were so many comparisons to the Louisville basketball program and the Auburn football program in terms of, like, what they have to deal with, accomplishments, what they're going through now. Because, I mean, the only downside to the Louisville job is that, I mean, like, the past two coaches that's, like, gone through NCAA trouble, they've kind of, like, not stuck beside them, unlike we did with Bruce.
So what's the feeling there? What's going to happen?
To be honest with you, man, like, with news, like, I'm just kind of listening to everybody that's saying he's going to stay, so I'm going to just say he's going to stay.
I mean, it's the ultimate leverage for him, right? Because he's wanted that building. He's wanted them to build a facility. The one thing about Pearl that I always think is interesting, because I kind of know of him a little bit. I mean, he plays the role of company man really well. Like, he does the football stuff, and we're a football school, but hey, we're an everything school. But there's a part of him that wants to go, hey, wait a minute. We're number one in the country. Football team just went 6-7. Let's take care of Daddy here. And he knows how he knows how it works, but I think this is the leverage for him to get everything he wants there.
Supposedly, like, they're coming with him with, like, new facilities, a contract upgrade, everything.
Well, now if they want to keep him, they have to, right? Because, I mean, from a pure basketball standpoint, where's it easier to recruit nationally in basketball, Louisville or Auburn? It's Louisville. So if you want to keep him, you've got to do it right now. And, you know, I mean, they got the money to do it. They just
You're right. Like, speaking of Auburn, like, when I watch Auburn, I see Jabari Smith, who's from Georgia, and I see Walker Kessler, who's from Georgia. Why in the hell is the Georgia basketball program so bad?
They've always been like that.
It's weird.
So many dudes come out of Georgia. Jabari Parker, like, dudes come out of Georgia. I want to say didn't Marvin Bagley come out of Georgia, the state of Georgia too?
Well, I mean, lots of guys do. The AAU circuit in Atlanta is like one of the hottest AAU circuits in the country. I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling that they can't. And the school you compete against in state, Georgia Tech, has all sorts of academic issues and stuff that, I mean, it makes no sense that they can't be more competitive than they are. But Georgia goes ages without competing, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the coach is. Like, who was the last coach that won big at Georgia? Was it Jim Herrick?
Did he even win big, or did he just win before he got there?
Didn't he win some there?
Before he did the grades thing?
Yeah, it feels like he made them at least competitive for a little while. And then they had Felton. Felton won the tournament that year with the tornado and stuff, but he never really got it going.
Yeah, they weren't good.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Crean's been a disaster. And in fairness to Crean, he has won at other places. but he couldn't scratch there.
They actually did have a little bit of a run. They made the tournament 96, 97, 01, 02.
Was that Herrick?
I don't know. I haven't gotten there yet. But
was that Tubby?
Ooh. I mean, their NCAA tournament appearances all time: 83, 85, 87, 90, 91, 96, 97, 01, 02, 08, 11, 15. They've made the Sweet 16 twice, 83 and 96. 83, they made the Final Four.
Yeah, it was Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah. So that's why that happened.
Yeah. I mean,
it
helps to have a generational talent. Yeah. Hugh Durham won there. Hugh Durham, when I was a kid, was winning. That was the 80s. It's bizarre, but they don't get it done. And they're going to make a move, and I'll tell you one of the names that's going to pop up at Georgia is Andy Kennedy. There's no doubt. It's absolutely going to pop up.
I would not leave UAB for Georgia. Hell no.
It's just the money. It's the Power 5 money compared to UAB money. It's NIL money at a place like Georgia compared to the NIL money at UAB. You're gonna have to piece your roster together, and Andy's done a really good job of it. But I don't know. I agree with you. It's a tough decision, but from a money standpoint, it's an easy decision.
I grew up in Birmingham, and me and my dad used to go watch UAB take on Memphis when Calipari was there. UAB they've got some basketball tradition way more than Georgia, in my opinion. I just think it's an easier job, man.
It is, but Andy's making one at UAB. I mean, Georgia probably pay him 2.5 right off the bat. I mean, that's maybe more than that.
In 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, someone goes, "Hey, we'll give you $2.75 million for 4 years." It would take him 10 years at UAB to make that money. It's a no-brainer.
Herrick made it twice, 01, 02.
Yeah.
But now he went 16 and 14 and made it one of those years.
That was back in the day where RPI got you in.
Yes.
Before they went to the net.
Yeah. Then he made the second round going 22 and 9 year before or year after.
Who you like in the games this weekend?
To my NFL games?
Yeah, sure.
Who, of course, I think I'm gonna go with the under for that 49ers Rams game. I'm gonna go with that under 46.5. I think I'm gonna go with that, and I think I'm gonna go with the Rams, man. I think I'm gonna go with the Rams, and the Chiefs -7. That's a good one, man. I'm not sure. I think with that one, I'm gonna go with Chiefs. I'm gonna go with Chiefs to cover that 7, just because I think Burrow's still a baby. So I'm gonna go with Chiefs. What y'all think?
I can't decide. I think I like the Rams minus the 3.5, and I think I like the Chiefs -7. 7's just so many points.
Yeah, it's so many points, man. So many, man. I got to hit y'all with some trivia.
Oh yeah, it's trivia time. Okay, so embarrass us. Here we go.
We're on a good roll.
All right, man. So look. Yeah, I mean, look. Hey, y'all been on a little streak now. The last one, y'all just, I don't know why y'all want to forget about Auburn. It's just normal for y'all to do it.
That's fair.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So the 3 teams are Miami. Are the 3 programs? I'm gonna say 3 programs: Miami, Texas A&M, Northwestern.
Oh God.
And this is from 2014 to 2021. And now, look, if y'all get this, I'm really show y'all some love.
Okay.
So this from 2014 to basically, to now, college playoff era. Team A has the highest total winning percentage of all games at 65%. Team B, which is a different team, obviously, has the highest conference winning percentage at 62% out of all the teams.
Okay.
And Team C has the second highest non-conference winning percentage at 59%.
Non-con.
My guess is Auburn. I'm sorry.
All right, so you mean out of these all these numbers are out of these three teams?
Yes,
Okay.
all these numbers are out of these three teams.
Okay.
14-21. All right.
That's post Manziel.
Yeah. So my initial guess, we're not. This isn't.
This isn't- we're not locked.
We're not locked in yet. My initial guess is that, is that Northwestern is Team A.
The highest total wins.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you say second highest non-con, you mean out of these three teams. So we're just picking the middle one.
Out of
Yeah.
Yeah,
Out of those
these
three
three
teams, not
teams.
out of.
And
those.
they're all
And that-
different.
and that is Team C.
And they're all
Different
different.
team.
And see, Texas A&M's is going to be higher than 59% non-con because
Who's Bill? Yeah, yeah.
SEC teams are going to win 3 out of 4 no matter what, unless you're Vanderbilt.
Does A&M really won 62% of their conference games?
That's what doesn't feel right. So maybe A&M has a 65% winning percentage. So maybe A&M is Team A because they're starting every season basically 4-0, 3-1. When you start, you see what I'm saying?
I hear you.
And Northwestern plays enough tough non-cons that 59% might.
Might
Would
be
Miami?
right.
But Miami would be lower than that. Is Miami lower than 59% non-con?
They win in 62% of their ACC games?
I mean, the ACC sucks. I mean, you don't play Clemson but once.
This one's hard. All right, what are you going to go with?
Is it possible that Northwestern's won 62% of their Big Ten games?
Yes, absolutely. It's possible.
Okay.
You want to go A&M, Northwestern, Miami?
Yeah.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
All right, A&M, Northwestern, Miami.
Okay. The team total winning percentage, Team A, winning 65% of their conference games was Texas A&M.
Okay.
Team B, the team that has won 62% of their conference games is Miami.
Okay.
They have won 62% of their conference games in the ACC since 2014 in the college playoff era.
Mm-hmm.
And Northwestern has only won 59% of their non-conference games.
See, I had it right.
Northwestern.
We talked me out of it. Yep.
Yeah, you did. You
Yep.
did. When Neal had said that, I was like, okay.
Yep.
Because that is a good point.
Yeah.
A&M went 8-1 in 2020 in league games.
Yeah, and
So that that throws some stuff in there.
But most years your teams like A&M are going minimum 3-1 in the non-league.
yeah, sure.
The weird thing about that is, Northwestern has the lowest total winning percentage out of A&M Miami, and Texas A&M at 55%, but they have the most 10-win seasons at 2. Miami has the second most at 1, and A&M has the least with 0.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In Northwestern plays, I guess, more difficult non-cons. And they're not great. So, I mean, they can get popped.
they'll mix in a Notre Dame or a Stanford or those kind of games. I mean, they play some games they can lose because they're trying to make sure that they look academically virtuous.
Northwestern, conference record in the last 4 years is weird. They went 8-1, 1-8, 6-2, 1-8.
Yeah, they have been up and down. Like this year, yeah. Well, a couple of years ago they were really good, and then this year they were horrible. I mean, they're kind of all over the place. But that's life.
Man.
That's life in the Big Ten, man.
Yeah, it is, man. Life in the Big Ten. Y'all have been getting the last little trivia, so I wanted to make that one a little more harder. So I'll bring it down a level for next one.
That was good. No, all good.
All right, man. You guys take it easy. I'm gonna keep enjoying the show.
All right, later.
Thanks, Gron. Appreciate you.
All right, man.
Our Walker Bailey covered. He wasn't there, so he didn't technically cover it, but he watched South Carolina Ole Miss. So I'll have that to you in a little bit. kind of a measuring stick game. A little sobering measuring stick, but that's okay. You're playing the best team in the country. And so you get you get reminded that you got work to do. You know, you're not that they thought that they were there, but you get reminded that, hey, we're not there yet.
And just, you watch the film and play better because it's one of those deals where, 30 free throws.
Yeah. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is David from Georgia.
What's up, David?
Hey, David.
Not much. Hey, before anybody loses their mind over this, I really don't care who starts your quarterback, whether it's Altmaier or Trick. I really don't care. But, I mean, what chance would y'all put on Altmaier actually beating Dart out for it?
I'd be surprised at this point. I mean, I think Lane Kiffin goes out and gets Jackson Dart. It's not to be his backup. I mean, I'm just being honest. I mean, Luke would have to have one whale of the next 6 months.
Yeah. And another thing, you guys were talking about Georgia earlier and how their basketball team it seems like they always suck. Well, I live over here in Middle Georgia. And if their administration is anything like the fans around here, they do not give a rat's hind end about anything but football.
No, that's always been the criticism. Yeah, that's all they care about.
I mean, if you think about it, their baseball program over here, we've got the Hope Scholarship and we've got the Zell Miller Scholarship, and Athens isn't but about an hour away from Atlanta, which has some of the best travel ball in the U.S. There's no reason they shouldn't be an Omaha team every year.
No, we've talked about it before. Arkansas, Georgia's been up and down in baseball. Like, they'll be good and then they'll be awful. We've done this whenever we do the Bianco thing. It's always about how Mike's been steady. Mike doesn't have the 8-22 year that Georgia has.
Yeah, and I just don't understand it because when you're that close to Atlanta, you should be able to basically pick and choose basketball and baseball talent. And obviously Georgia can go anywhere in the country and get whoever they want in football. I mean, like you've said numerous times, they are really invested in football. And their fan base does not care. I mean, I was having a talk with a guy at work today, and he said, God, I wish it was football season I wish football season was soon. I want to watch football. And I was like, well, you still got the NFL. Doesn't care about the NFL.
Yeah.
He cares about Georgia football. It's almost like I'm back living in Alabama again with those damn roll turners. But it is what it is. I was just wanting to get your thoughts on the Altmaier Dart thing, and let somebody else call in now.
All right. Thanks, David. Back. Hit that. Make sure we're back. Hang tight. If we lost it, we just had a weird deal. Just someone let us know in a second. We're going to spin for a minute, and I think we're going to get back.
You think it's okay?
I think. Not 1,000% positive. Yep, we're back. Okay. What I was saying was that with Georgia baseball, one of the reasons that there's not a ton of fan buy-in is because everybody's such a rabid Braves fan.
Yeah, you're in the pro market right there.
You're right there, yeah. And so those people are watching the Braves every night on Fox Sports South or whatever it is that is.
Assuming that Jackson Dart stays with number 2, there's everybody that's going to repurpose their Corral jerseys. Do you just
that's true.
Keep them for Dart?
Was Matt's name on the back of them?
I mean, not all of them, I'm sure. I'm sure some people have just the 2. Or like, does Corral mean a lot where you go, hey, it feels a little slimy to just you have to put them away.
Yeah, I don't know. Be a pretty popular number, I would think.
I mean, a ton already out in the in the ecosystem.
If you were one that just got one with just a 2 on it.
Just a 2 on it.
What you thought was, oh, man, my jersey doesn't have his name. Now you're like, hey, my jersey didn't have his name.
All good.
Winner.
Yeah. So he said the Heisman 2 still works. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Ginger says, I have a 2 jersey with no name, but Dart has to earn me wearing it.
I kind of get that stance.
I get that.
Hey,
yeah. That's why you retire jerseys too. Like and Matt.
You think Dart will wear 2?
I mean, all of his pictures
His
were in
number.
it. Yeah, his pictures. Now, when he went to Oklahoma,
He wears something different?
he wore 1, didn't he?
I don't remember.
And Trigg wore 0? Or maybe it was 1 and 2. I don't know. Trigg wants to wear 1, I think.
And he can. Mingo was wearing 1.
Yeah.
Yes, because we kept thinking, people kept saying he was on the field and it was Springer the whole year.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So that's not available. I guess he could buy him a Rolex.
Good. Try to maneuver this thing a little
That's
bit.
what you would do in a Major League Baseball clubhouse. Is you
Yeah.
come in and say, "Hey, how much do you want?" I don't know. Name a price. It's usually a bundle of cash.
It's doable.
And a Rolex
Yeah, we can
or
do it.
something. Yeah, it can get done. Probably a little harder to do with. Oh, he wore number 2 at Oklahoma too. So yeah, he's gonna.
I think he's
gonna wear number 2. Couldn't remember. Just remember seeing all the pictures. What do you wear at BYU?
Did we see pictures come out of there?
I don't know that we did.
I know we did a photo shoot, but I don't know.
His brother went with him there. That was the reason for that trip, I think.
Was it?
Is his brother's name? His brother's got a unique name, I think.
Does he? I don't
know. But I hate to say it out loud because I'm not sure I remember. And the brother's supposed to be a quarterback too. He's got a younger brother. Diesel.
Shea wore 20.
And that was the first sign. And we said it at the time, and we did. We said it that day, and we were right. You argued with us, and me and Jeffrey both said.
You thought that was a sign that he had 20 on that was a problem.
I thought it was an absolute sign.
He was
that there
honoring
was a
his
problem.
grandfather.
I don't care. It was there were other ways to honor your grandfather.
He was wearing 2 before that.
And that was fine.
Oh, yeah.
Or 0. Or any other number lower than 20.
Okay.
Whoever just called from the 601 starts with a 9 after that. Call back. I'll get you. If you left a voice message, I don't think we can hear it. And
Yeah, Jeffrey went crazy over him wearing number.
he was right. He said it was a sign of weakness. It was a sign of bad decision making.
Bad decision.
And turned out to be decision making was a problem for Shea. Credit where credit's due.
Shea would have got a huge NIL back in the day, and then like a year later.
Oh, yeah. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, it's Leif.
Hey, Leif, what's up, man?
Oh, just trying to figure out what I'm doing working tomorrow. I'm in Louisville, and I went to a restaurant tonight that had one of those gross challenges.
Oh.
And it was something that I asked the waiter, because I said, hey, have you ever seen anybody actually do this? He said, no. It's called the Greatest. They said it's named after Muhammad Ali, and you have to compete. You have to do it in 24 minutes because that's how long the Rumble in the Jungle was.
What was the restaurant?
It's a place called Four Pegs. It's
Okay.
in Germantown.
Okay.
So what was the challenge?
Really good. So it's 3 half-pound burger patties,
Okay.
a quarter pound of pulled pork, a quarter pound of brisket, a quarter pound of pork belly burnt ends, 6 slices of cheese,
Okay, so we're up
6
to
fried green tomatoes, 12 fried pickles with bourbon bacon jam, onion rings, beer cheese, chili, and 2 orders of fries.
You tried this?
No, hell no.
Thank God. Thank God.
I wouldn't be talking to y'all right now.
No, God, no.
I would be dead.
It's the sides. It's not even all the protein.
No, it's not
It's
all
the onion
meat.
rings and the fries and that
when
stuff.
he said the 6 slices of cheese, at that point, not that I was there before, but I was like, okay, I'm out.
Because the actual protein, you said 3 half-pound patties, so we're a pound and a half, and then
which is a lot of
it
beef.
is, and then like another pound of other stuff.
Yeah, you're at 2.5 pounds.
Okay, 2.5 pounds for the meat.
As it is.
I mean, that is angioplasty just right there.
It's the fries and the onion rings. That's the.
Well, and it's the.
I think the chili.
Oh, I forgot about the chili.
And then you got that jam on it too.
Okay, what order are you doing this in? If you had to do it, like, how would you go about it?
Well, no, it's one. Well, I mean, I guess.
No, but I mean, like, how do you attack it?
Oh.
You have to eat the sides first, right?
You're gonna get all that starch in you, and
you gonna finish with it?
No, I'm not. I would never attempt it.
I think you've got to do sides first, and then.
The French fries, they weren't like regular French fries. I don't know. They're kind of, I guess people call them pub chips or something now. They're kind of like sliced potatoes that are just.
I would take the pulled pork, put it between 2 of the patties, and eat a hamburger with the pork and the patties. Because you get that down quicker. Because you only had 24 minutes, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
24 minutes, and it costs $55.
Yeah, but it's free if you eat it all.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pay the bill if you die. So, I mean, right? I mean, if you die in the process of it, they're going to have to collect elsewhere.
Do you get a sweet T-shirt too?
Evidently a Muhammad Ali T-shirt, but
okay.
It would be one of those things that it would be a perfect like fantasy football league punishment just to make somebody try it. But yeah, my daughter recently. She had a Happy Meal and ate some chicken nuggets. She said, "Daddy, whenever I grow up, I want to eat 100 chicken nuggets." I'm like, "That's not something you should ever try to do, baby girl."
No. Sounds.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of worse ones, but that's a bad one.
That's bad.
That's a lot of meat.
I do think you're right. The chili is a problem.
The chili that.
And all that cheese, man.
You got to put it on the
chili
stuff.
Seems like that would be the thing, like on Stand By Me, that would just all of a sudden create the chain reaction. So, anyway. All right. Well, y'all have a good night.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Leif.
Yeah, I've never tried the Mugshot Challenge, and I have no interest in that.
What is it?
It's a huge burger with the fries. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah, it's just
the cheese would get congealed if you didn't eat it first.
I know. It just doesn't interest me at all. The whole
food challenge thing.
The only food challenge, like if it like wings, maybe. It'd have to be something specific like that. It'd be one thing. It couldn't be
not the big plates.
It couldn't be like the platters of things. Because you're right. If you told me it was wings and you're like, oh, and you have to eat these fries, I'm like, I'm out. Because it's not going to work.
Even just the fries on the wings.
Yeah, in a where you're having to eat like 2 big sides of yeah.
Well, it's like, the Big Texan or whatever. It's the 72-ounce steak, but you've got to eat the baked potato and the salad and the bread.
And so it's the potato and the bread that kills your chances.
Yeah, it's the sneaky thing over here to the side that everybody goes, whatever, and then
that's what gets you.
What is it? Where is it? Is it Marshall Steakhouse has the big eating challenge around here? Is that the closest one?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, no, I would run. The oysters quickly would get. I like oysters, but not to that level.
Kinsley, thanks for the super chat. He says, what happens to Caleb Williams in Wisconsin? I guess it just doesn't happen. It sounds like Caleb Williams in USC is a done deal. Otherwise, I don't think Jackson Dart we're having this conversation. I think he waited to leave to make sure that job was going to be taken by Caleb Williams.
Yeah, so here, Marshall Challenge, 72-ounce sirloin, 6 breaded shrimp, very large baked potato, generous salad, and table bread. $99 if you don't finish.
How big's the steak?
72-ounce sirloin.
It's a lot.
Meaning no bone, like just 72.
Yeah, that's a lot of steak. I mean, by itself, I think I could do that.
Yeah.
That's about as far as I can
Even
go.
the 6 breaded shrimp, though, are making you go, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
And you get a t-shirt. Do.
Couldn't you just go in and buy a T-shirt for $20?
Or you could just order the Chateaubriand for $99 and enjoy a meal.
You could.
They have that, too, on here.
Yeah, and enjoy a nice meal. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I have no issue with the Chateaubriand.
And not just feel terrible the next
it's all good.
day. Ginger says she can't even eat a 6-ounce filet. What's the biggest steak you could eat comfortably?
Uncomfortably.
If
I ordered at a restaurant and I wasn't like...
Where you weren't going to feel sick afterwards.
I mean, comfortably 24 tops.
Yeah. And that's a lot of steak.
I mean, like one of the porterhouses or something by yourself.
Yeah.
Anything more than that, like I could get more down, but
not comfortable.
Yeah, it has to be a process at that point. And I mean, I'm never going to order a 24-ounce steak.
No. What's the biggest steak you would ever order? 16-ounce?
I guess if you're ordering a ribeye and they have a 16-ounce ribeye,
yeah,
you
sure,
would do that.
sure.
Yeah, probably. And Corey said he ate a 48-ounce one time.
Mm. The Sports Writer Challenge, all the St. Elmo shrimp.
One of those tables that was at the national championship game.
YouTube censored Corey's next comment, but yeah, I'd be in the same boat. That would just be, that'd be crazy. All right, let's see. I need to put the number back up. That's my mistake. Six 259-0991. So when are we expecting, I guess at this point,
Tomorrow.
Twitter announcements tomorrow?
I mean, like I said, if they're not enrolled right now, I mean, I have that it's 8:59. I don't know. If they're not enrolled right now, they're going to be enrolled by like 9:30 in the morning. I mean, it's just the way this works. Like I said, the front of the show will close again with this part of it is that yes, they will just get professor permissions periodically that might already be done. I know they had started the process, and then you have a schedule, and boom, it's done, and it's there.
Hey, who do we have?
Hi, Neal. It's Tammy.
Hey, Tammy. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Good, good. Did you have a happy New Year?
When was that? Yeah. New Year's was fine. How was yours?
I know. It was fabulous. I mean, it's been a little while, but anyway, okay, Neal, I got a little bone to pick with you.
Okay.
It's about Coach Freeze.
Okay.
I know sometimes you don't really care for him, but I want to tell you.
Okay.
Coach Freeze saved me and Gerald's marriage.
Please fill me in.
Okay. Well, we went. It all started.
I bet it did.
The credit
Go ahead.
card bill came in,
Uh-huh.
and I saw some really unusual charges, and I was like, "What is this?"
This was with Gerald?
And so, yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't, and he had no explanation.
Okay.
Well, I started doing some investigating a few years ago, and I saw where Coach Freeze did some discussions and talks about couples that needed a refresh.
Right.
It was a retreat or a cruise, right? Which one? It was a retreat.
Oh, it was a retreat.
That's right, yes.
So and it was in Seaside. We went down there.
Oh, that's
beach,
right.
And we needed
Because we offered Jeffrey a copious amount of money to go.
There was just no. We never even got close.
Sorry, go ahead, Tammy.
No, it's okay. So anyway, we go down there and we're just trying to, just find some inner peace. And we see that Coach Freeze is talking. And so we start listening, and I'm going to tell you, he just spoke to us. And I don't know if it was the palm tree swaying or just the coconut juice, whatever it was.
Uh-huh.
He saved our marriage. Me and Gerald.
What did he say that was so profound that saved your marriage?
Well, he told us to look in each other's spirits, like an animal spirit.
Right.
And howl at the moon, if you will.
Uh-huh.
But to just become one. And we did.
So he told
and maybe it was a full moon at the beach that night. I don't know.
Right.
But
when you said you became one, just you and Gerald becoming one, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Just me and Gerald.
Well, that's a wonderful story.
Have you had any communication with Hugh since then?
Have you told him that he saved your marriage and that you're thankful?
No. Mm-mm.
You should tell him on Twitter.
Well, maybe I should.
That would be a nice thing to do.
Maybe I should.
You should.
I was listening to what y'all were talking about with the food eating contest.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And that jogged my memory. I remember Gerald was at the Sears, and they had an all-you-can-eat hamburger steak night. And I'm going to tell you, he took down about 64 ounces of 80%, 20% ground chuck.
Gravy and onions?
Gravy, onions, smothered, covered, you name it. With 2 biscuits on the side.
Oh.
We need those for the gravy.
Did y'all sleep in separate rooms that night?
Well, as a matter of fact, Neal, we did. I don't think I could have handled being in the room with him after eating 64 ounces of ground chuck.
Yeah, you'd need at least one N95 for that, just to get through it.
You got that right.
I know.
Okay, I've got another topic. How's our little Maddie doing?
We haven't spoken to Matt in a while.
Okay, so where do we think he might go?
I think the options right now are Washington, New Orleans, Pittsburgh.
Those are the most likely.
A lot of Pittsburgh talk.
Oh, I think Pittsburgh's going to be too cold for him. I think he needs to go to NOLA.
Yeah, maybe so.
Maybe.
Hey, Tammy, thanks for the call. Enjoy your weekend.
Okay. All right, we'll talk to you later, sugars.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Saved the marriage. That's good. It was nice to hear.
People helping people.
Yeah, that's what those retreats are for. In Seaside. All day long.
I had the brochure at one point. I don't know where it is now.
Was that after the trouble? It was what? Yeah, it was. It was after he was. It was after he was the coach here.
Oh yeah.
It was in 2017.
Yeah.
Who are the Saints hiring?
Still think they're hiring Des Allen. Like I still feel pretty good about that.
Leftwich get a job?
I haven't heard his name attached to much.
He got mentioned. Somebody is going to interview him. Yeah.
Who wasn't?
I can't remember. It could be the slogan of our show. I mean, the Little Potato Log podcast, just people helping people. Yeah, that's what we try to do. We're here to help. All right. Appreciate everybody for calling in. I don't know that we can top that call. So Appreciate everybody calling in. We'll have coverage throughout the weekend, obviously, of Jackson Dart, Michael Trigg, whoever else may or may not come up. As of today, I had not heard about anyone else that was due in for a visit. I would think that this will shut it down until the spring.
I think so.
April, May. You think there might be one more?
I've got one little thing.
Okay.
I don't know who, but just the possibility of somebody.
Okay.
We'll see.
So I don't think there's any high school guys coming in. There's no junior day. There is Ole Miss basketball on on Saturday against Kansas State. Women's basketball Sunday against Georgia. Is that right?
Yes, women's basketball is Georgia.
Okay, women
Yes.
women against Georgia on Sunday. We'll have coverage of all of that for you here at rebelgrove.com. We'll have this up in podcast form in the Oxford Exxon podcast. Again, thanks to everybody who called. Thanks to Jeffrey Wright for joining us earlier on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. So until Monday morning, we'll be with you on the Oxford Exxon podcast. Until then, have a great weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the NFL games, and we will talk to you Monday.